Welcome to Crochet ADHD. I'm your host, Jackie. If this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome. I consider you a one-hit wonder. I am so glad you're here. If you are a repeat offender, a member of the GlamFam,
if it says Libby on the label, you would like it for your table.
Y'all, today it's the Chit-Chat Cafe. We chit, we chat, and we crochet. Now, this one might get a little spicy. I cannot believe the audacity. There's just so much audacity. It had to have been a clearance sale on Audacity. While we chat, I will be attempting to work on my, this is a test pattern that I'm doing for Ashley of Tiny Couch Crochet. And it's Tunisian crochet. I'm making a top. And I'm just gonna, whatever. As I have made no secret about, I have actually kind of been out of the loop with a lot of stuff that's been going on in the fiber arts community. I think like earlier this week, maybe I kind of, tiptoed back into it. And boy, oh boy, did I really just step in some stuff. Grab something to drink, grab something to knit or crochet. This might be old news, but it's new news to me, so I'm sharing. Apparently, and this is, I feel like this has affected more of the knit side of the community than, the crochet side. However, I can absolutely see how it could affect both because this is about patterns. Now, I know that a lot of us are not really, we're not all in a position where we can afford to pay, $5, $10, $15 or whatever a pop per pattern. I get that, right? And there are a lot of patterns that are available for free. I think that there is a good amount of patterns that are available for free that should, again, I'm telling you, it's a little spicy. I don't want to say that it should like satiate you. Okay, so here's what the drama has become. Apparently, someone created a Discord server. Now, if you're not familiar with Discord, it is another social media platform where you have like a group and then you can share information back and forth or whatever. So you can actually share files as well as pictures and stuff. And someone created a Discord server with the sole intent of this thing was so that they could share knitting patterns. And I don't mean they're sharing free patterns. No. They're sharing the paid for patterns, which, in case you did not know, is highly illegal. Someone tipped off a designer who managed to become part of this group, and she witnessed all of these things going on. And when the people were confronted with it, or individuals are confronted with this thought, why are you stealing these patterns? The reaction was almost like one of absolute privilege in saying
well, I can't afford to buy your pattern, so I'm going to steal it.
Or
y'all are gatekeeping by charging people to have access to your pattern.
The problem, amongst many of the problems, is the definition of gatekeeping is not selling something for profit. That's not what that means. Gatekeeping would be if I found a cool resource for something and it was, even if it wasn't free, right? Let's just say I found this place where I can go and I can get like gas for 20 cents a gallon, right? And you're like, hey, where did you get it? And if I don't tell you, okay, I feel like that's more of like a gatekeeping kind of a situation. It doesn't cut into my profit. It doesn't affect my life in the essence of I'm not stealing from myself, or I'm not losing any money in not telling you where I'm getting this 20 cents a gallon kind of thing. But if I have information on how to crochet this awesome sweater, right? And you like look at it, you love it, you're like,
hey, how can I get access to it?
It's like, okay, it's my pattern, so you pay me $5, $12, whatever, right? Okay, that's how that works. That's called a business transaction. So for you to say, how dare you charge me to use this pattern and then accuse me of gatekeeping, well, first of all,
I don't think it means what you think it means.
and also, again, it's a business. This is my job is designing patterns. So I want to be paid for my job of designing patterns. If you don't want to pay me, that's fine. But don't get butthurt because I'm charging you for it. That's how this works. You don't go into Walmart and then, like they're saying, okay, an apple is $1 a pound. Okay. They're not gatekeeping because they're not giving you the thing for free. I mean, Walmart is a business. That's what they do. So how people are not understanding, and I'm just using the word people collectively because I honestly don't know any one individual that was involved in this pattern gate or whatever. I don't know. I'm just trying to, it's not even trying to understand the thinking of the people who were in the wrong. They're trying to justify stealing something. A pattern is literally a take or leave kind of a thing. It just in general, because you don't need a pattern to live, right? You don't need a pattern to, you don't need a pattern. Lots of people crochet and knit things without patterns all the time. And then there are those who create patterns that they think other people will enjoy. And if you are one of those people that would enjoy it, you pay for it and you make said garment, said item, whatever. If you find yourself feeling so strongly about having a pattern that you're willing to steal it, that means that you really want it. And if you really want it, you should be willing to pay for it. Everybody's got their cutoff. Everybody is like, I can't afford that. But why do people feel like if I can't afford something, it's okay to steal it? That's wrong. And that hurts so many people. If you have a favorite designer, I have a favorite designer. If everybody is stealing her stuff, then she's not going to design anymore. And that's going to hurt everybody. She goes out of business. She can't support her family anymore. All because this group of people felt entitled to take something without paying for it. No. In the group, again, the people who were sharing the patterns, like one of the people in the group had actually purchased the pattern. So the designer got paid XYZ for said pattern, but then it's shared with 90 people. So that's 90 people who didn't pay for it. That's money out of her pocket. Another justification was,
oh, well, that's a big company.
Now, I might be a little sensitive in this situation simply because, years ago I did own a business, and my business was incredibly small because it was me and my daughters for the most part that were working in the store and everything like that. And then anytime a person was buying an item that I sold, but they were instead buying it from the guy next door, that was cutting into, you know, what I could bring home to support my family. For a community such as ours, the fiber arts community, the maker community, we're already like at a disadvantage against the fast fashion, big box, all of that other stuff, right? We're already at a disadvantage. So we're a minority in the grand scheme of things. When the minority starts stealing from the minority and then tries to justify it, doesn't that make us just as bad as, you know, the big box store that moves into a small town and puts all the mom and pop businesses out of business? I mean, we hate that. Like, I feel secure in saying that most of us hate when that kind of a thing happens. So if you're a big knit design store and you've got, you know, Jackie's House of Yarn and Crochet over here, it's not okay. Okay, you know what? Stealing is not okay. Stealing is never okay. It's not okay. You don't absolutely have to have a crochet or knit pattern. You do not. It is not that important. It is, of all the things that are important, like in life, a knit pattern doesn't even make the list. If you feel that you have to have something so bad that you're willing to steal it, you might need to have a conversation with your conscience. That I've done 3 stitches, y'all. I cannot, I mean, I'm collecting information from different YouTubers and such, and it was like even some of the pattern designers that were affected by this, you know, some have a thing on their website if you want to make a purchase where, you know, if you can't afford the regular price, you know, here it's available at this price, it's available at this price, you know, so they have like pricing structures to make their pattern as affordable as possible and still have them profit some from their hard work. Because when it comes to designing a pattern, there's a lot that goes into it, and especially garments, you've got to have your testers, but you also have to have your tech editors. And before any of that, you have to have the idea of how to put together this garment and it not be a copy of somebody else's, which, you know, at some point, everything is there's going to be a repeat of something somewhere, just because, you know, there's only so many ways to skin a cat. You know, so you've got the idea, and then, you know, you take the idea and you want to, there's so many things that go into a good pattern design. If the pattern ends up costing you $10, know that in that $10 was a whole lot. Now let's just say, and here's an area in the pattern world that I don't overly jive with.
What?
I guess here's a hot take on a hot take on a hot take. I think if you paid for the pattern and you make things from said pattern, I don't feel like it's right for the pattern designer to tell you that you cannot sell the finished garment. The pattern copyright the copyright belongs to the designer of the pattern. But once you create the item, it becomes like your copyright. I don't feel like the designer should be able to control what happens after the initial exchange. In sewing, a lot of fabrics, you know, like if you buy some New Orleans Saints fabric and it'll say that you can't resell such and such that's a whole different kind of a thing, because you're actually using a copyrighted image in the finished product. So I understand how there is copyright attached to that. If you've purchased the pattern you're using whatever yarn you want to use. You're using, I feel like there's not a way legally that the designer of the pattern should be able to control what happens after you've made an item from said garment. Now, I could be wrong. I've done zero research as far as like the legalities of what I'm referring to right here. I feel like that's wrong. And I did hear a designer specifically say, no, you can't sell an item made with my pattern, which I think is kind of dumb. You know, you're walking around, you know, in your street, any town, USA, and somebody comes up to you and they're like,
oh my God, that is the most gorgeous top I've ever seen. How much would you charge for me to make one for me?
and if you have it within your desire, your wheelhouse, your brain space to make something for a complete stranger, you should be allowed to do that. But the pattern is yours once you've legally purchased it. I feel like it just hurts my heart that a craft that is so, I don't want to say homespun, but it's, the roots of it are just so non-business-like, non-industrial, to where people are just ruthlessly stealing from others in the same boat. Like we're all in the, you know, we're all woohoo, and we're paddling and we're enjoying it. We're doing this to save our sanity. We're doing this to provide for our family in one way or another, whether, you know, we're making the items to clothe our family, or we're designing the patterns to sell to others so that we can support our family. Whatever it is that we're doing, right? For whatever the reason is, we're all in this same boat, and several somebodies are sitting around drilling holes in the bottom of the boat and having an explanation as to why it's okay for them to drill the holes in the boat. That's just not cool. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. It had to be said. Are there patterns that I would love to have? Yes. There are patterns, pattern books, love to have. But I'm not going to walk into Barnes and Noble and say,
Look, because y'all are holding on to this and you're forcing me to pay for it, I feel like your company is big enough that it can afford for me to walk out of the store with this.
The internet, for all of the good that it has, one thing that it has done that I really believe has allowed a lot of the horribleness to take place, it gives people like a screen of, like, it's a layer of protection, but not in a good kind of protection. It's a disguise. I don't know that if all of these people were in a room together physically and someone said, hey, I've got these patterns here that you're supposed to pay for, if they would willingly walk up in front of a crowd of other people and just take it. But because it's the internet, you can hide. That's frightening. That is unfortunately the way of the world, but it doesn't have to be our way. If you're a good person, always be a good person, regardless of whether you're in a group of people or you're by yourself. Just be a good person. I know I have, my Ravelry wish list is full of patterns that it's not even a matter of not wanting to pay for. It's just my first inclination. This is me. My first inclination is when I look at something and I'm like, gosh, I love that. And I'm like, oh, how much is it? And then I'm like, oh, I feel like I could make that. Like, I might not need that, a pattern for that. I feel like I can make that. And if I didn't have ADHD, I probably could make it. But the problem is I'm like, ooh, I could probably make that. And then I go off into a rabbit hole of figuring out how to make that. And then I find 900 other things. And so at the end of all of that, I've just got a bunch of things in my wish list of things that I probably could make if I took the time to do it, but haven't. And then the other side of things, I buy a pattern and then I start to read it and I'm like, oh no, I hate this. I like the finished project, the finished product. I don't like the instructions. As if I could do better, which I know I can't, but I'm still going to talk. I'm still going to try to figure, no, they want to use that stitch. I don't want to use that stitch. Why do I do that? That's a whole different video. Anyway, in the few months that I was gone, the knitting community literally collectively apparently just lost its ever-loving mind and has decided that because of privilege, we should be able to take whatever we feel is necessary, or no, we take what we want because reasons. One of the other reasons that was given, and again, trying to closely connect it to gatekeeping, is that
there are people in other countries in certain lands that don't have the resources.
Okay. Well, somebody in one of those lands kind of jumped into the fray of the conversation saying, y'all have got to stop blaming second and third world countries for your justification in why it's okay to steal. I'm pretty sure whatever resources are available to you, regardless, not even looking at this as a third world, first world, second world country, right? Okay. There are things that are available to me in Louisiana that is not available to my friend in Colorado. It's just not, okay? Because it's a regional thing. In Colorado, there might be more yarn shops that carry wool because their temperature requires it, right? That doesn't mean that they should charge less, or they should give me the wool for free because it's not locally available. The logic that these people are having to try to justify theft is mind numbing. It is so incredibly stupid that I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to be connected with these people. That's y'all, that's not okay. As I'm saying this, I don't think any members of the GlamFam would be involved in this. Well, I hope not. This is, again, just the community at large that this is happening. It's happened, and it was a crochet YouTuber that I was watching when I think she was one of the first few I watched that was talking about this particular issue. So the fact that it is mainly the knitting community tells me also that it could also affect the crochet community now, or it might happen in the very near future if it hasn't already. I just want to say, first of all, kudos to any crochet pattern designers out there that are doing what you do, because again, I know it is not an easy thing to do. If you have a situation where you are offering a discounted, a staggered system of charges to make it more affordable for other people, I think that's a wonderful thing. I even heard that some designers, if you reached out to them, now of course doing it now, it's probably not going to have the same effect as it was before all of this happened, but many designers said that if somebody had contacted them expressing a very strong interest in using their pattern, but that they couldn't afford it, that they would gladly gift the pattern to them. I think that's a beautiful thing. That is what our community should be known for. It should not be known for people who are sharing stolen goods. That should not be what our community is known for ever. I did not get very far at all, which we knew we knew. So have y'all heard anything about this, or are y'all just, is this new information to you as well? What are your thoughts? I would rather go without a pattern than to stoop to a level of stealing it. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. I would never steal from my sister. I would never steal from my brother. And that's what we are in this community, our brothers and sisters. No.
A few moments later.
If you like this video, please like this video. It has been a long time since we've sat down for a Chit-Chat Cafe. Definitely well overdue. Long overdue. If you want to stick around and become a member of the GlamFam, all you need to do is click on that subscribe button. And don't forget to rock that notification bell. Until next time, I've been Jackie.